Hi readers, it's Mrs. Oreglia. For this week, we are going to be reading a book that I'm really excited about, and it is called How to Read a Story. It is written by Kate Messner and illustrated by Mark Siegel. Something that I really like about this book is that it has you think about what your process is as a reader. And by process, I mean the steps that you take whenever you decide that you're going to read a book, because that's something that we don't think about very much. We sit down to read our book, but we don't think about all the thought that goes into reading our books. And sometimes if we think more about our process and what makes us happy as a reader, we end up being better readers for it. So today, as we read the book, we're going to go through the book, and we're going to think about the different steps that the author brings up and think about what our steps are whenever we decide that we want to read. So I'm going to tell you about mine, and I'm going to encourage you to think about yours also. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. I'm going to show you our book for today, which is How to Read a Story by Kate Messner, illustrated by Mark Siegel. I'm checking this book out on Sora, so if you want to go ahead and read it, once I return it, you can read it there too, and it will be there and ready for you. Also, I want to say that this book is read with permission from Chronicle Publishers, the publisher of the book. So here's our first step. Step 1, find a story, a good one. It can have princesses and castles, if you like that sort of thing, or witches and trolls, as long as they're not too scary. So this is the book that I'm reading right now. It's called Wish, and I picked it because one of the third graders at Raleigh Hills recommended it to me. So I knew that this was going to be a book, a good one, because it had been recommended to me by a student. So we have our first step. I want you to also think about my first step. I found a story. I know what I'm going to read. What story are you excited to read, and why are you excited to read it? Take a second to think about that. Step 2, find a reading buddy, a good one. A buddy can be older or younger, or a person your age, or maybe not a person at all. Make sure your reading buddy is nice and snuggly, and make sure you both like the book. If you don't agree, go back to step 1. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get just the right book. I'm going to go ahead and get my reading buddy now so that you can see my reading buddy for the day. Frankie! Come here, Frankie! There's my reading buddy now. Say hi, Frankie! Frankie's my reading buddy, and we like to read. She likes to read books like this also. This book, I notice, has a dog on the cover, so I think that my reading buddy, Frankie, will like this book too. Step 3, find a cozy reading spot. Outside is fun, but not if it's very cold, unless you have thick woolen blankets and hats and scarves and cups of steaming hot cocoa. And not if it's very hot, unless you have trees to shade you from the sun, a hammock to catch cool breezes, and tall glasses of icy lemonade. Inside is good, couches are cozy, so are chairs big enough for 2. Just be careful not to get stuck. So I want you to go ahead and think about what your cozy reading spot is. I have a couple of them, and like this says, it depends on what the weather is. So one of them is on my couch. I like to lay down on my couch and get nice and cozy. And my other favorite reading spot is out on the patio if it is nice outside. Those are 2 different places that I like to read. They're both my cozy reading spots. All right, so think about what your cozy spot is, and then we're going to move on to step 4. Look at the book's cover. Can you guess what it's about? Read the title. That might be a clue. So here's my book. It's called Wish, and when I'm looking at the cover, I notice that there's a girl and a dog and a really beautiful background. So that tells me that this book is going to be about the relationship maybe between the girl and the dog, and I'm excited about reading about that. Step 5, open the book. This is the exciting part. Read the story in a loud, clear voice, not too slow and not too fast. You can point at the words if you like, but you don't have to do that. Once upon a time. So here you can start reading out loud to your reading buddy, just like I'm reading to you. So Frankie's my reading buddy whenever I read books in my head. But right now you're my reading buddy and I'm reading with you. And I'm making sure that when I opened the book, I was reading it in a loud, clear voice. So you can practice just like I'm doing with your reading buddy. Step 6. When the characters talk, whatever's being said, say it in a voice to match who's talking. I will save the kingdom. I am the most powerful in all the land. I'm hungry for lunch. Soon this castle will be mine. Beep. Step 7. No matter what you read, hold the book so your buddy can see the pictures. Buddies get impatient when they can't see well. So that's why I'm sharing my screen with you so that you can see the pictures. So make sure that when you're reading to your reading buddy, you show them the pictures too. Step 8. If there are words you don't know, try sounding them out or looking at the pictures to see what makes sense. They were afraid the dragon would burn down the and we look at the picture and we realize, oh, the castle. So make sure you look at the pictures to help you figure out the words. If you need a break, you can pause for a minute and talk to your reading buddy to predict what might happen next. It's like what we do in library a lot. Whenever I ask you, what do you think will happen next? And I give you a chance to talk at your table. You can do that at home too. Talk with your reading buddy and talk about what might happen next. Will the castle catch on fire? Will the princess tame the dragon? Will the robot marry the princess? Will the horse make friends with the dragon? Will the dragon eat them all for lunch? Step 9. When you get to the exciting parts, make your voice sound exciting too. Who dares disturb me in my cave? The dragon growled. Oh dear, no. The robot was so scared, all his metal parts rattled. What would they do? But the princess tackled that dragon and held him down. You must promise you'll leave our kingdom in peace. So make sure when you're reading, you get excited because reading is exciting and what's happening in the story is exciting. When you and your buddy can't stand it a second longer, turn the page to read how things work out. The dragon promised and decided it was better being friends, and they all lived happily ever after. Step 10. When the book is over, say the end. And that's where our book is over. And then, if it was a really good story, go back to the beginning and start all over again. So if you really like the book, read it again and again. I read some of my favorite books so many times. So it's always a good idea to go back and read the same book over and over again. Because I don't know about you, but I've read some of the same books over and over, especially right now whenever we can't get as many books as we're used to. So thank you again for reading with me, for reading How to Read a Story with me. Today, the question I want you to answer is, how do you read a story? I want you to go through and tell me about some of these steps. Tell me about what book you're reading, what is your cozy reading spot, and who do you like to read to? So answer some of those questions for me, and let me know about how you like to read. So it was really good reading with you again, and I hope that you are having a good time at home and doing lots of reading by yourself. Thanks again. I miss you guys. Great job, readers. Bye.